Hi, it's Shelley here from Client Nectar, and today I want to talk to you about how to get into the high ticket selling zone. So, oftentimes people talk about the different tactics when it comes to selling, how to sell, what you need to do in order to sell, what language you need to use, what questions you need to ask. But a lot of the time, people don't talk about one of the most important aspects of high ticket selling, which is actually your mindset. And that's what I'm going to be talking to you guys about today. Because if you want to get into the zone with making high ticket sales, then the first thing you need to do is make sure you're in the zone with your mindset. I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story now that's going to give you a bit of a sense of what I mean about the importance of mindset and why mindset is the real X factor when it comes to being able to sell high ticket. It is the real secret to high ticket selling. So, going back about 5 years ago, I ran a program which was called my Passive Income Inner Circle. And this program used to teach entrepreneurs how to be able to launch an online course and make a passive income. And what happened was I was doing a launch to bring together my next group for this program. And I'd had 11 strategy sessions and I hadn't made a single sale, which was pretty unheard of for me because my closing ratio is usually 1 in 2, 1 in 3 maximum. And even at that stage, even 5 years ago, it was like 1 in 2, 1 in 3. And so I was a bit concerned that I wasn't making any sales for this new group. And I contacted my mentor and arranged to have a call with my mentor. And I really didn't expect what happened next. So she talked to me about what had happened on the calls and what was the response I was getting from people that I was talking to. And I told her, well, they just keep saying that they're not ready. And I'm like, I don't understand why they're saying they're not ready to go ahead. I was like, I don't understand what's going on. And she said, well, I reviewed your webinar. And the one thing that came out from watching your webinar was that there were a lot of times where you were saying, you're going to need to work hard to get this working. It's going to be hard work. And so she said, do you think that might have anything to do with why they're coming onto the call saying, I'm not ready? And I was like, oh, I hadn't realized that I was saying that you're going to need to work hard. But then, as I was talking to her, I said, you know what? The last group that I taught, it had felt like hard work. I tried something new with them, which I thought was going to give them a really fast way of building an email list quickly so that then they'd have people to sell their online course to. And actually, they'd really struggled with actually getting to grips with the funnel for just getting the emails, like getting those emails in. And that was just the pre-work section for the actual program. So I'd overstuffed it, I'd given them too much. And whilst it was kind of made sense to me because it seemed like this is a logical thing they need, they weren't ready for the tech, they weren't at the same level to be able to just dive into that much tech. So my experience working with that group became one of hard work. It became feeling like I was pulling them along to try and help them get results. And, understandably, also, they were struggling. They were just finding that there was just too much in the program for them to manage. And that was a good learning for me as well, to realize that while something might seem easy to me, it doesn't always seem easy to my clients, to really measure that when I'm creating my programs and when I make changes particularly. So anyway, having been on this call with the mentor, I was like, oh my God, like I can really see what's going on. Because it was hard work with that previous group, I was still emotionally carrying that. And that in some way, that message of it's going to be hard work was still unconsciously within my mindset, and it was within me. And I was saying it, like even on the webinar where these people were coming through the webinar and then onto calls, I was like saying to them, it's going to be hard work. And I didn't even know I was saying that. And so, like I didn't even know on the strategy sessions, perhaps I was also giving that impression even on the strategy sessions because that's what I was carrying inside me. And so through being able to talk that out with my mentor and just kind of unravel that process, I was able to start, dealing with the fact that the previous group didn't go as well as I'd hoped it had gone. And, sometimes things don't go the way you hope they go, and that is sad. But I did give the people who are in that group, I gave them an opportunity to get more help, and I gave them an extra period of a month of tutoring for free. So I did something to make it up to them, so that they had time to be able to achieve the results that they wanted at a pace that they could manage. And so, I knew then, having had that mentoring session, I knew going back into new strategy sessions with prospects, I was in a different place. I had kind of worked through what was going on in my mindset. And you know what happened? I closed every sale after that, and I brought the next group together, and we had a wonderful experience, and the group went great, and it wasn't hard work. So I wanted to share that story so that you can get a sense of how our mindset can be actually affecting our ability to make sales, to make high ticket sales. And we might not be consciously aware of what's going on. So if you've been getting a lot of people coming onto calls with you saying, I can't afford to work with you, I can't afford it, I invite you to reflect on what might be going on in your own mindset that could be blocking the sale. For instance, have you ever invested yourself at the price point that you're wanting to charge your clients? And if you haven't, maybe that's partly why you're getting people saying, I can't afford it, because they're just mirroring your own, lack of confidence with investing at that level. Or perhaps they're saying, I can't afford it, because actually inside you, there's a part of you that doesn't believe that your program is worth it, that you don't have that strong sense of the value that you're bringing through the work that you're doing. And that actually, that's what you need to work on first, to build your confidence in your mindset, so that you can really stand in your power when you're on the call and you are letting the person know about how you guys can work together and what the investment will be to do that. And if you're getting a lot of people saying to you, like I did, I'm not ready, then maybe there's something inside you in your mindset where you're fearing taking on new clients. I've had clients in the past where they've had some health issue in the past. And so unconsciously, they're nervous about taking on new clients because they're worried about getting sick again. And so unconsciously, that is blocking them from feeling comfortable in the strategy session. And actually, that's why they're getting people saying to them, I'm not ready. It's just mirroring actually how they feel inside. And there can be other things as well. Like in my situation, people were saying I'm not ready because I was afraid of having another group, because it had been hard work with the previous group. I was afraid of, bringing another group together. I was afraid of, finding that it didn't work as well as I wanted it to work. So this is where we have to look at. We have to look at what's going on inside our own mindset that could be contributing to the objections that we're getting from our prospects and to us not closing the sales, or not bringing on the clients that we want. So I hope you've enjoyed learning how to get into the zone when it comes to high ticket selling. And I'd love to hear any feedback you have on this. Is this something you can relate to yourself? Have you been experiencing any of this yourself? And do let me know. Send me a message and let me know. All right, bye for now, guys.